Okay, let's dive into this. Whenever you hear about doing business in emerging markets, the conversation almost always turns to risk. But what if those very risks, what if they're actually a hidden door to opportunity? Today, we're going to explore that fascinating dual nature of institutional weakness.
So, let's just start with the big question right up front. Are weak institutions, unreliable laws, shaky regulations, are they always a bad thing for businesses? I mean, your gut instinct probably screams yes, right? It sounds like a total nightmare, an environment you'd want to avoid at all costs. But as we're about to see, the real story is so much more complex and, frankly, a lot more interesting.
So let's first get a feel for the challenge. Just imagine for a second trying to build a business where the fundamental rules of the game can just shift, totally without warning. That's the heart of the uncertainty problem. It makes any kind of long-term planning feel almost impossible when the ground is constantly moving right under your feet. And then, of course, you have corruption. And look, this isn't just some abstract ethical issue. It's a huge practical business problem. It creates all these unpredictable costs and hurdles that you won't find on any official spreadsheet, making it incredibly tough to navigate fairly, or even legally. And all of this, it often leads to just plain gridlock. I mean, when laws are enforced one day but not the next, or the regulations are just a tangled mess, getting anything done, from a simple permit to clearing your goods through customs, it can become this frustrating, paralyzing ordeal. Your entire operation can just grind to a halt.
So, to kind of sum it up, firms that are trying to operate in these environments, they face this really tough set of challenges. We're talking weaker laws, inconsistent enforcement of whatever laws do exist, regulations that are so vague they're almost useless, and, of course, a high risk of corruption. It completely backs up that initial gut feeling. This looks like pure, unadulterated risk.
Okay, so let's lock in a clear definition so we're all on the same page. When we say institutional weakness, what we're really talking about is a situation where the rules of the game, all the laws, the regulations, even the unwritten social norms, are just unreliable, they're unclear, or they're just not applied to everyone in the same way. So, we've painted a pretty clear picture here. It looks and feels like a total minefield. And for many, it absolutely is. But what if we've only been looking at one side of the coin? What if there's a completely different way to see this whole picture?
And this is where it gets really interesting. This is the pivot. Look on the left, the challenge creates hurdles for everyone. But now, look to the right. For a firm that can actually navigate those hurdles, it creates a huge advantage. On the left, standard, one-size-fits-all business models, they just fail. But on the right, this kind of environment actually rewards companies that have creative, super localized strategies. And yeah, it might discourage a lot of foreign investment, but what does that really do? It thins out the competition, leaving the field wide open for the firms that are actually prepared.
So, how do you actually turn this idea into a real strategy? Well, it's kind of like a three-step process. First, you have to identify the specific weakness. Don't just say it's corrupt. No, pinpoint the exact bureaucratic bottleneck. Second, analyze the exact problem that bottleneck creates for most of your competitors. And then third, find your strategic advantage. How can your unique skills, your deep local knowledge, or maybe your flexible approach turn that widespread problem into your own exclusive edge?
And this really brings us to the most crucial takeaway of all. In these markets, risk and opportunity aren't two separate things. They are deeply, fundamentally intertwined. The very same factors that create all that risk for an unprepared company are the exact same factors that create a massive opening for a company that's savvy, agile, and well-informed. They're just two sides of the exact same coin.
And I just want to leave you with this thought, because I think it sums up the whole idea perfectly. In a fragile institution, one firm's risk is another's strategic frontier. It's just such a powerful way to reframe the whole thing. It challenges all of us to look past the obvious dangers and to see the incredible landscape of possibility that might be hiding right there, in plain sight.